Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Chris's Collectible Corner, and for those of you who are new, thank you for coming through to tune in for this review. And today we're taking a look at the Threezero DLX Megatron from the Netflix Transformers series War for Cybertron Trilogy. But before we get into the figure itself, if you wouldn't mind, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification to be notified when new reviews are uploaded to the channel. It really helps and I appreciate the support. Alright, so taking a look at the packaging. First and foremost, please forgive me because it's the first time that I'm reviewing a figure of this size on the channel, so my setup isn't quite adequate for it, but we're going to make it work. Now, that out the way, along the side we have the Megatron and War for Cybertron logo along the side. On the front we have a nice image of Megatron all decked out, holding his cannon as well as his sword, the War for Cybertron logo in the bottom left hand corner, some Threezero logos. Along the other side we have the same thing repeated, but also with some warning signs and the official Threezero sticker. And then along the back we have a nice graffiti looking image of the Decepticon logo, which looks really nice. So the packaging strikes a nice balance of being very busy but yet simplistic, which is really nice and probably great for you inbox collectors. But that's not all the packaging offers. Along the front, there's a flap to the packaging, so this when you open it up, you have a nice window, so this way you can actually see the figure itself and some of the accessories that it comes with. So for you inbox collectors, if you want to keep them in the box, you would still be able to see the figure. We have a nice image of Megatron along the side, all decked out, and then you could use the Velcro pieces to close it back up. Alright, so here we have Megatron standing straight up and down in a light box. From head to toe, he stands at 10 inches. Now this is Threezero's recreation of Megatron from the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Netflix trilogy. And I have to say, just looking at him, just from what I remember from the show, he is spot on accurate to what he looked like in the series. Now, for those of you asking, no, he does not transform. Threezero does not have the license from Hasbro to make transforming figures, but honestly, I'd rather have a high-end model version of this character than one that can transform and has to compromise on certain things. I mean, just looking at the detail on this thing, from the paintwork head to toe, is immaculate, and you wouldn't get that on a transforming figure because then you would have to worry about paint chipping and scuffing. With Threezero, they take all of that into account when they make the figure and when they're also engineering the articulation. So this way, as a collector, you can have the closest one-on-one representation of this character in figure form. Now this is the re-release of this figure. He originally came out about 4 years ago, but I had missed the window at that time. I had gotten the Optimus, but by the time I tried to get Megatron, he was already sold out because I was too late on pulling the trigger. Luckily for me, they did a re-release, so I picked him up as soon as I could. And the reason why I got this figure is because I believe this is the closest version we're going to get to a G1 Megatron that is posable and this high end. I mean, obviously this isn't exactly G1 Megatron, and I'll break down the details when we zoom in to kind of show you what pieces are not, but this is as close as we're going to get. And this guy has a good heft to him. He is chock full of die cast, so he feels weighty and super sturdy. He doesn't feel cheap at all. He feels high end. So now let's punch in and look at the details. Alright, so starting at the feet, man, I have to say, I don't think any other company is even coming close to messing with Threezero when it comes to paint application. I mean, just looking at the weathering and layers of paint that they put just on the lower half is incredible. On all the black parts, on all the edges, you can see the silver dry brushing to look like there's wear and tear. Like, this guy has seen battle. This guy has been through things. He isn't pristine and clean. And just those extra details give it more character and really bring the sculpt to life. Now, as you can see on the back of his legs, he has wheels because in the Netflix series, Megatron is a tank. And in more recent times, that's usually what he transforms into, but all of us G1 fans know he used to turn into a pistol. Obviously, that's not going to work because how do you have a handgun turn into like a 32-foot robot? Gotta do a lot of wizardry to make that believable. As a cartoon, it works, but as a practical figure, no. So that's the alt form they chose to go with this version of Megatron, hence the wheels on the back. But you can also see the treads going closer towards the ankle joint, and they did that super well. Even looking at the knee joints on the back, you can see the pistons that kind of better hide the articulation, but they're functional. And now looking at the silver pieces like the back heels, the feet, as well as his thighs, again, they did not hold back on the painting at all. You can see a layer of paint that looks like grease stains on it, once again giving this figure more life and character. And I really love the engraved detail that they have on the legs of the cuts and scars into the mold itself. They're not just painted to give the appearance, they're actually sculpted in, which once again just elevates the figure and the sculpt to a whole nother level. This thing is beautiful. Now, before we go to the upper body, because we can see them here, as you guys see by the hands, he has these little flaps that kind of go over it. Honestly, I don't really like it, but that's how he looked and that's what he had in the series. So for screen accuracy and bringing that to figure form, they nailed it. Practicality wise, doesn't really make a lot of sense, and honestly, I'm probably going to remove it just to kind of give him a more cleaner look. Now looking at the upper body, the craftsmanship does not stop. Once again, this guy is painted from head to toe, every nook and cranny to perfection. Just looking at all the silver on his upper body, it has that layer of like grease on top of all of it. And I have to say, when I first saw this figure and took him out the box, I expected him to be cold to the touch on his chest when I grabbed him, because it looks like legit metal, but it's just plastic. Now obviously he has a die cast frame and the legs have metal so you can feel it being cold to the touch, but that's how well they did the paint applications on this, that when I looked at it, it just looked like metal to me, even though I knew it was plastic. Incredible. And as you can see, they have all the details in here and all the little crevices, really making everything pop. And then again, they continue with that sculpt work with the scars across his chest, the bullet holes, even on the face. I was rewatching the series to make sure, and they got that 100% accurate. The same placement, same length, everything. I mean, they really didn't miss a beat when making this figure. This thing is incredible. Now along the back, you can see there are these two little pieces, and I'll show you guys that a little bit later in the video when it comes to accessories, but that's for the backpack kibble that you could put on him to kind of keep the screen accuracy, with another set of tank tire treads. But I do like that they gave us the option to remove that so we can give him a more cleaner and G1 accurate look. But overall, I think the paint that they chose for this silver and the red is super nice, and the sculpt is, I mean, I love the facial sculpt that we have here for Megatron. I really hope that eventually we get a live action Megatron that looks closer to this than the ones that we've gotten. I think my favorite version of a live action Megatron is from Revenge of the Fallen, because at least he has the fusion cannon arm, but all the other ones, they just leave a lot to be desired, and I don't really feel like they represent the character too well, at least to my recollection and how I remember him from my childhood. But overall, this guy is spectacular. He is definitely going to have a lot of shelf presence. I think my only gripe or criticism that I would say about this figure is that I wish he was a little bit taller, because their usual DLX figures are about 11 to 12 inches and he's 10 inches. So if you want to pose him next to the other Optimus Primes from the Bumblebee DLX line, he's going to be a little bit shorter. And canonically, Megatron is actually supposed to be a little bit taller than Optimus Prime. That's my only gripe. But now let's get into the accessories. Alright, so taking a look at his accessories, he comes with his iconic fusion cannon. He comes with an HPR telescopic laser strike launcher. Damn, that is a mouthful. I'm just gonna say it's a sword. He comes with two different handles, and I'll show you how we're going to use those a little bit later. And then he comes with 4 additional pairs of hands. So the first pair of hands are a pair of holding hands that are for like holding the sword and those handles I mentioned earlier. The second pair of hands are meant for holding the fusion cannon, and I'll show you how that kind of works. I mean, it is kind of weird because the fusion cannon is usually attached to his arm, but there's a piece for that also. Then he has a pair of spread out hands, and then another pair of relaxed hands. And honestly, all in all, I think the hands are great. We have a good spread of them. They're very expressive. Nice paintwork to them with the silver dry brushing again, highlighting the knuckles and the damage and the scuff and scratches on the hands. My only gripe is that I wish that they were articulated. But Threezero is moving into the direction with their future DLX figures where all the fingers will be articulated. So I guess we're not going to get any more separate pairs of hands because the hands will be able to do all the expressions on their own. Then he comes with a base and an action stand, and I'll show you guys how to put that together as well if you're new to Threezero figures. And then just like the backpack that I mentioned earlier, that kibble, those are the extra tire treads, and I'll show you guys how to put that on him as well. So let's get more in depth with these accessories. And here we have his fusion cannon. As you can see, the paintwork on this thing is beautiful. I love the silver brushing that they have all over here. They kind of like show you some of the rust, as well as some of the scratches and battle scars that you can see on here. Really shows that this is a gun that has seen battle. It's not new and pristine at all. I do wish they would have had a little light in here, so this way you could kind of have it yellow to kind of just show the energy blast glowing. And I know it's kind of weird that this has a handle because this is usually his fusion cannon that he has connected to his forearm. But just in case you want to have him hold it for some weird reason, I don't know why, they have a handle, so this way you can have him holding it in his hand. But simply he could pop it right out, and then this piece just goes right into the forearm. So yeah, this is a super nice piece. Once again, the paintwork that Threezero does is phenomenal. I hope the video is doing this justice. Now with his other accessory, which is his blade that he has, that's also a gun surrounded by a blade. You know, you could swivel it, so this way you can have it backwards, so if Megatron's elbowing somebody, they're gonna get stabbed to death. While he has another fusion cannon with a scope on the other hand. Or you could flip it around, I have it right here, and this plugs right into his other forearm using this. But if you don't want to use that, you can pop this piece right off, and then it has another piece. As you'll see, there's a little indent at the top right there, so you just line it up with the slot. So this way, if you want, pop it in, and then you can have him holding this blade in his hand. That's what those hands were for that I showed you guys earlier. You know, the holding hands that look like it's holding something, so that's for this thing. Or if you want, you could do something else. Let me pop this out. He comes with another handle piece that you slide right into here. Boom, pop that in. And then his fusion cannon, I'm not going to slide all the way in because I don't want to get stuck. But you just match the slot up and you could slide it right in. And then boom, you can have the beast of a fusion cannon with the blade at the end. And I don't know, to me this is just excessive. Like, who are you shooting with this, my guy? Like, he's like aiming at God with this thing. This thing is crazy. Look how big this thing is. Pause. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, and then you just pop it right out. But I don't think I'm going to have it like that. I do wish they would have had a piece where you could slot this in his back to kind of give him the conventional Megatron look with the fusion cannon and the one gun behind his back, because you could pop this off. See? And just kind of have it bare like that. So I think that would have been a nice missed opportunity, but you know, for what it is, it works. So this is a nice little addition, not necessary, but this is the back kibble that he has when you're watching a Netflix series, which are basically the tire treads from when he was in tank mode. So I mean, it's nice that they made this option where you don't need to have it there, so his back is clean and you still see all that detail there. But you know, if you want to put this on, it's very simple. I found the best way is to kind of push that forward, rotate these up then. Alright, you see these pieces right here? You're going to slot that into these pieces here. So you're just going to pop it in, make it easy. And once it's in, there you go. You just pop it right in, and boom, there he goes. Has his tire treads right on the back of him. Me personally, I'm probably not going to keep him that way because I like the more clean look of the G1 Megatron, but you know, I get it. For show accuracy, there you go. So if you're new at the Threezero or thinking about picking figures from them up, especially the DLX line, this is how their stands work. Their stands are super sturdy. So as you see, we have a nice big base with some engraving inside of it. And then this is the stand part. So it clips right in right here. So you're going to hear it snap in. There you go. Nice and secure. Then this part right here, you're going to snap it into this little hole. Clips right in. Boom. So this was super sturdy. So now when you have your figures, you're going to move this up and you can slide this piece up and down depending on how you want to angle it. Alright. Then you push it back down to lock it in place. And then up here, you push this button down to raise this piece up. And then you push it back down. Boom. And once you let it go, it locks in place. It won't move. And then this piece right here, I made this mistake when I was new to it. It doesn't rotate, not in the conventional sense. You have to pop it out from here, and it has like little grooves and ratchets that you could see. Then you can angle it which way you want it to, because this part usually plugs into the butt of the figure that it comes with. So once you have it all together, boom, you pop it, slide it, lock it, and that figure's not going anywhere. These stands are great, I'm telling you. Alright guys, so let's get into articulation of this guy. Forgive the framing, this is the first DLX figure that I'm reviewing on the channel. So, you know, still trying to figure it out. Not sure if my setup is adequate for it. So I'm going to try and get everything that I can in frame. So this guy has 50 points of articulation, which is wild. And the way how he's built and everything just looks streamlined. Like, you can't really find it. Obviously, if you're a figure collector like we are, you know where these joints are going to be, but I feel Threezero just hides them so well. But that aside, let's take a look at this guy's articulation, starting with the upper body. So, when it comes to the shoulders, alright, or spoiler alert, he can go 90 degrees, as you can see right there. Then he has another piece right there that allows him to go even higher. I'm not sure if you can see that. There you go. So great shoulder range. He can go all the way around, no problem. Nice elbow bend, as you can see. And even when you expose everything, see, look, just more detail gets shown as you watch, as you know, as you bend these joints. All right, so there we go. Bicep swivel. That's a little tight, but that's fine. All these joints are reinforced by die cast. Alright. Now this is a little piece, just part of the design from the actual show. I don't really like it. Of everything on this figure, this is the only thing that bothers me. I'm not really sure why this is here. Probably after this review, I'm probably going to just remove these because, I don't know, I just don't like them. I don't see the point, and I feel like it kind of throws off the design. Alright, now looking at the chest area. As you see, side to side swivel. He can turn a bit more, but before you turn him, if you're going to get this figure, you have to move this out the way. You bring it down, so this is where it kind of clears that area. So now you can get better waist rotation, and okay, he can go all the way around. I'm not sure why I was surprised. He's a robot, so why not? Then as for the ab crunch, same. Boom. Beautiful. And what I love about Threezero, I turned on the battery by accident, is that even on the back, when you bend these figures over, pause, it exposes more detail that's hidden in layers. See? Beautiful. Even the stuff you can't see, they're painting and taking care of. Alright, so that's what we have there for the waist. Then you just pop this back right there. Alright, Head, he can look up a little bit. Can't look down at all because of the way the design is. Side to side, all the way around. And slight head tilts. Alright, now getting his arms out the way. These are on ball hinges. But because it's a bigger figure, they're more sturdy. So you don't have to worry about these breaking. So that's how far up his leg can get. So yeah, he can kick pretty high. He's got really good leg articulation. And then, can he go backwards? You can't really go back much more. I'm feeling some tension. I'm not going to push it because I don't want to break it. And this figure is not cheap. Alright, then he has thigh rotation right here. And like I said, all these joints are reinforced by die cast. You could actually see it here when I bend the knee. This whole piece is metal. So yeah, these things are sturdy. And like I said before, just more detail gets exposed. Ridiculous. The knee even kind of bends. I'm not sure if you can see it. When I move it, it kind of shifts around. Watch. See how it bends in? And when I put the leg straight, it folds back out. Beautiful. And then ankle articulation. This piece comes out a little bit, just in case, so you get better balance him. It goes up, down, more metal right here. And then you can also move the toe and the heel. So let me try and get to that. There you go. See? So that moves as well. Just to give him added balance. So yeah, this guy's articulation is really good. You know, you just got to be careful when you're doing it. Because, you know, this is a big, heavy figure. A lot of moving parts. And the reinforced die-cast frame makes him very sturdy, but firm and sometimes difficult to move. But as long as you know what you're doing, you should be alright. But yeah. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. Even here, look. These little tires, they move. They didn't have to do that, but they did. That's just Threezero for you. But yeah, incredible. So yeah, this articulation on this guy is great. You can get him in some really good poses. Let me see. Let me try one right now. Turn this off. Yeah, see, come on. That's crazy. That's just me messing around. That's not even like a really good pose, but that was so easy for me to do. And because he's so blocky, you don't think he would be able to, but once again, that's a testament to Threezero's engineering and the way they built these guys. Their Transformers line, they've got this down to a science. That's all I'll say. But alright, that's his articulation. And now for some size comparisons. So here we have the Threezero DLX For Cybertron Megatron with Threezero's other line, the Man DLX Megatron, which is their interpretation of the G1 characters. Now, I literally just got the Man DLX Megatron in because they started re-releasing them, so it was only right for me to compare that Megatron with this DLX Megatron. And I think they look great together. Obviously, one is way bigger than the other, so you can kind of see the scale of DLX to Man DLX, just how much bigger it is. But I still think they both look great. But obviously, with the DLX Megatron, there's an extra level of detail and care that's been put into the paintwork. And staying with the Man DLX line, here we have him with the 40th anniversary vintage Man DLX Optimus Prime. And I will say right now, Prime, if you're gonna fight this Megatron, you're gonna have to upgrade and get a little bit bigger because I think he can take you. And now speaking of the upgrade, here we have the original For Cybertron Siege Optimus Prime DLX figure with the Megatron of the same series and line, and these two look great together. Having them together really complements each other. And I mean, you can't have Megatron without Prime, right?
Who would you be without me, Prime? Time to find out.
Threezero is also re-releasing the Optimus Prime from the For Cybertron Trilogy series that aired on Netflix. The only difference between this one and the re-release is going to have blue tinted windows, where this one, the original release, has the green tinted windows, which is actually a better representation of how he appeared in the series. And now here we have the DLX For Cybertron Megatron with the DLX Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. That is my favorite version of the live action Megatron designs. And what I was saying earlier, I think you can see it here a lot more clearly. One of my gripes is that I wish this For Cybertron Megatron was just a little bit taller, because the Revenge of the Fallen Megatron is a DLX figure. And like I said, regularly all their DLX figures are usually about 11 to 12 inches. So it would have been nice if they would have made him a little bit taller in scale with the rest of the DLX line. So this way you can interchange him with some of the other figures, because like I said, we've never really gotten a G1 Megatron for the live action movies that was like more faithful to his original design. So that's the only gripe. I wish he was a little bit taller, but I guess just for the sake of that line, they made it a little bit shorter, I guess in proportion to that character model. And just for shits and giggles, you know I had to do it because I usually review Dragon Ball figures, but here's Megatron with the SH Figuarts Legendary Super Saiyan Goku with the DF base head. And obviously, as you can see, the DLX figure just towers over this Goku. Alright guys, so that was my review on the Threezero DLX For Cybertron Trilogy Megatron. I got mine at Beyond the Hobby. He came out to about $210 after shipping and taxes. If you're interested in picking this guy up, I'll put the link in the description. Overall, I think this is a great figure. Like I stated earlier, from the articulation, the craftsmanship with the paint, the engineering to the articulation, the overall sculpt, and the accuracy to the one-to-one representation of how he appeared in the show, plus the accessories, I really don't think you can go wrong. Also, the diecast, sorry, forgot to mention that as well. This is just a really sturdy, well-built figure, and it looks beautiful and stunning. So, as you guys know, I usually like to use the Dragon Radar and the Dragon Balls from a scale from 1 to 7 to rate these figures. So going based on that rating system, I'm going to give this guy a 6. The only thing that kept me from giving this thing a 7 is just because I feel like there were some missed opportunities here. One, I really wish they would have put an LED feature into the fusion cannon so you can have the barrel lighting up. And I know it's for screen accuracy, but I don't like the little flaps that are over his fists. And the only other thing that really bothered me was that I wish he just would have been an inch or two taller so he could have better scale with the other DLX figures that Threezero has made. That is my only gripe. But that aside, guys, let me know what you think. Will you be picking this guy up? Are you going to pass on him? Do you already have him and have the original release? If so, how is the figure held up? And you guys let me know what you thought of this review, if you found it helpful and informative. This is my first DLX Transformer review on the channel, and trust me, there are more to come because this is one of the main lines that I collect. With that said, I hope you guys found this review informative. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification to be notified when new reviews are uploaded to the channel. Thank you for stopping by my corner of the internet, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.